Hi, welcome to Gabie's Knit Goodies. I am here on my front porch because it's such a beautiful morning. It's slightly cool, but not too cold by any means. I am wearing my Ann Ventzel Cardi V-Neck sweater that I knit out of one skein of fingering weight merino and one skein of, it's more than one skein each, but one merino and one strand, that's the word I'm looking for, of kid mohair and silk. Gabie's Knit Goodies yarn, which is my hand-dyed yarn, and yes, it's turned out beautifully and I love it, and it's perfect. I actually have on shorts because it's going to be nice and warm today, but it was a little cool on the porch, so I threw on this. Okay, so I have a couple of large finished objects as well as a ton of projects, works in progress here. So hopefully I can get through them all, but we'll see. First of all, you can find me on Instagram and my yarn on Etsy at Gabie's Knit Goodies, and then on Instagram my yarn also has its own little Instagram handle, GKG Yarn, so that I can just put lots of yarn pictures up there. And on my Gabie's Knit Goodies channel, I usually do, I just do like my projects like this. I think I'm better at whip photos than I am at finished object photos and posting them. I need to post more FOs. That's my new resolution, even though it's not the new year. Summer resolution. There we go. Okay, speaking of my yarn, I will first talk about a new yarn that I dyed that I'm going to be putting up on Etsy, and then we'll get into all of my knitting, which is a lot. And this one actually relates to one of my projects. This is cotton, Italian Cupro cotton, fingering weight. It's very, very soft, kind of buttery, and I'm trying to figure out what to call these. Hopefully they will be in the shop by the time I post this video, but we'll see. It is like blue and kind of a steely or silvery purple almost, but not really purple. It almost gives that hue a little bit, with little bits of deep blue, little speckles of black and brown and yellow and pink. I don't know if it's all showing up very well on screen, but it's pretty cool. I was thinking about calling it maybe speckled denim or something like that, but I don't know. I don't know what to call it. So I'll have to figure that out, or if you have ideas, let me know. If it's not already in the shop, I can use one of y'all's ideas, or change it if I don't like what I did and y'all's is better. So this is a fingering weight yarn, and then this one is Pima cotton, and it is a technically I guess a DK weight is 218 yards per 100 grams, but I don't know, with cotton yarn I tend to like to knit it a little bit looser. I think part of that is the ease of knitting. So I think you could DK worsted. And it is similar in a lot of ways in that it is all over blue with a variety of speckles and little splotches of pinks and yellows and blacks and dark blue and browns. But this one has, its base color is more of blue all over, whereas this one, the base has those almost lavender steel sections in it as well. And part of that was just the yarn and how the yarn takes the dye and how it separates depending on how you apply it. So very interesting And if you're a yarn dyer, it's interesting to see how different yarns, just different weights, different types of cotton or wool or alpaca, everything takes the dye differently. And this, of course, is totally different from the animal fibers because it is a plant fiber, so it's a different dye process. I actually did record some of this, of me dyeing this, as well as some other yarns. I'll put a little screenshot up here, and I'm going to try to do a little yarn dyeing vlog. Anyways, that's more than enough on that. So, to the making. Should we do finished object first? My other finished object is currently being worn by my daughter, so I'm going to have to go take it off of her back. But I can start with this one, and then maybe I'll end with the other one. So, this is the beautiful, I don't think I've shown this in its total final form with buttons. Oh, and now I forget what it's called. It is a cardigan. I will put the name of the cardigan, and it's by the West Strand sisters. Viveca Cardigan, I think. I'll put a name up here, and everything will be linked below as well. And this is knit out of caramel macchiato, DK weight, merino nylon. You can find it. Gabie's Knit Goodies on Etsy. And I did a slight modification, I guess a major modification, but only one, and it was very easy. When I picked up for the sleeves and knit the sleeves, I started doing them in the ribbing as it calls for, but my daughter and I both didn't really like the snugger sleeve. She wanted a more billowy sleeve, I guess you could say. So I just did reverse stockinette on the sleeve instead of a ribbing all the way down the sleeve, just like the body is reverse stockinette with the cables and regular. Yeah. So anyways, she loves it. She wears it a lot. I finally did put the buttons on it. I just got some wooden buttons from Hobby Lobby, which is, you know, kind of like a Joann Fabrics or something, big craft store. It's actually a very big craft store. So, there it is in all its glory. And then the back is really pretty. I would love to have this for myself in just slightly bigger size. It would definitely be a little too cropped for me. But the neutral color with all of these fun speckles would just match a lot of things, but still be really fun to wear at the same time. Yeah, so she loves it. She wears a lot and looks adorable in it. If I can get a picture of her, I will, and put it in here. So that is finished object number 1. And the other one I'll save till the end. Alright, works in progress. Let's do this one. So this is the 05 tie side tank. I can't remember the designer's name. It wasn't one I'd ever knit before. And I will put the name up here as well as below. And it just looks like a rectangle at the moment. But it has like a small basket weave pattern. So it's like a 6 row repeat maybe. Sounds about right. 5 or 6 row repeat, and it's just you kind of shift to make the little basket weave pattern. I am knitting this out of merino nylon in Peaches and Cream, which is a new colorway that I dyed up, I don't know, maybe about a month ago, and it is in the shop. Yeah. I really like it. Again, It's kind of like this caramel macchiato. It's subtle, it's kind of neutral, but it's a lot more fun to knit with than a neutral, and then it kind of has little pizzazz without being too bold and bright. So I like it. It's gonna be a sleeveless top, and you have this split here on the sides that's pretty high up, and there's gonna be a little tie that I make. So I guess I think it might be ribbing, 2 things of ribbing that you get to tie together on the sides. And it looks really cute. I'll put a picture of the original pattern sample up as well. So you knit this, the front and the back, separately until you join them here. You can see that. So then you kind of overlap your 2 panels on that ribbed edge, and then just those stitches you knit together that first round when you're turning it into 1 piece in the round as opposed to 2. And then you knit in the round until the armhole split, which I'm probably relatively close to that, which is exciting. This was 1 skein. I have a little bit left. My ball is falling apart. And so I am going to probably use 2 skeins total, which would be 200 grams. Her sample is in a cotton yarn. And truthfully, if I had dyed up this before I cast this on, I might have done it in this one. But I cast this on a little while ago, actually. This is working quite well for like a substitute for like sock knitting, because it's small, so I can put it in my bag. Especially, it used to be smaller before I had to join them together. So it worked well. I needed like that small travel project, but I didn't want socks. So that was a good move for me. All right, next project. Since I was talking about socks, I tend to cast on socks because I just want to bring something with me. And I don't always finish all of my socks. I have a number of socks that I've cast on, and then they stop being mindless, so I set them aside. Because sock knitting is for, like, going places for me. I always have one in the car. I have one in multiple bags. I should collect all of my sock whips and put them all together and take a picture, because I have probably more than I realize. At least 4, I think. Anyways, I needed a small project to bring on a family trip we went on recently. We went to Florida and did Universal Studios for a couple of days, and then went down to the Florida Keys and went snorkeling and all kinds of fun things. So I needed a small project to tote with me. So I cast on a pair of socks out of my I'm a Hokie sock set, which at the time I had a number of sock sets available, and then I did a trunk show, and now I don't have any sock sets available. So if you like this, let me know, and I can always dye some. So I'm making this up. I just did a ribbing. I wanted to make sure that it was on wood needles. This is part of the reason why I cast on something new to bring with me, as opposed to using one of my other sock lips. Because I'm always paranoid about a plane and then taking away my needles. So I cast this on and did a little pattern. I got the pattern idea from a book I have that has a whole bunch of colorwork patterns. But then I actually messed up on this bottom part. But I like it, so I'm going to repeat the error in the second sock. So the pattern was like this zigzag with little dots in the middle, and then it was supposed to be mirrored with the zigzag at the bottom. but I messed up where I put this bottom stitch. It should have been in the gap, and I put it like, yeah, together with the other one. So technically it's a mistake, but I think I like the mistake more than the original concept. So I'll just repeat that. Did a heel flap and gusset, and yeah, I think they are very cute. And I hope that I will actually finish them, cast on the second sock, and finish that one before the fall. That is my goal for this one. It's a pretty lofty goal for me, actually, because I'm not very good at finishing 2 socks. However, contrary to that, I can find it in my box here. I have not only 1 sock, but almost 2. That's pretty good for me. So this is just a pair of vanilla socks, knit on size 2 needles out of Flowers and Dirt fingering weight merino nylon, and I did a 2x2 rib, I think 60 stitches, I believe, and then just knit, heel flap and gusset, and there's my sock. I love this colorway. And then I knit these socks, I think, primarily on Chalgu 9-inch circulars, or else I did magic loop with my Hiya sharps. But I think it was the Chalgu. Oops. But once you get to the toe, you gotta do either magic loop. Oh, so this was on Chalgu 9 inches. So once you get to the toe, you either need to do magic loop or double pointed needles. I decided to do double pointed needles just because I had them. And the only thing I have left to do is, I think I'm on the time where I need to Kitchener it. So second sock, 99% done. They've been sitting on my desk like this for a little while. Like a month, maybe. Kind of sad, right? So hopefully I will get that done so they can actually be a pair of socks, not almost a pair of socks. The sun is starting to warm things up out here a little bit. Let's do another new cast on. Told you I had a lot of stuff going on today. A lot of projects in the works. So my new cast on is the So Summer shirt, I believe, by Jessie Maed Designs. And I wound up that fingering weight cotton that I just dyed. And I wanted something mindless, but again, I didn't want a sock. I hope that the yard work being done by my neighbor that just started is not too loud. Maybe I'll move the camera closer to me. Let's do that. That might be better anyways, huh? Okay, you're nice and close now. So this is the hem, and I have to say I am proud of myself because it is a folded hem, which I think looks very nice, but it is a little bit tedious because you knit, you know, twice as much length as you're actually going to end up with so that you can fold it up. But I really, really love the feel of this fabric as well as the look of it. I think it looks really cute. Something I would totally wear. Oh, one thing with this folded hem that I did different from the pattern, she gives 3 options: a raw hem, folded hem, and a ribbing for the bottom. So you could do any of them. But for the folded hem, she does a provisional cast on, and I don't like provisional cast on, so I did not do that. I did a regular long tail cast on, then I knit. I did that little purl bump where you fold it, then I knit, and then I just picked up, like knit 2 together with that cast on edge. So I guess the risk with that is tightness, but I did my cast on loose enough to where that did not cause a problem. If you have a provisional cast on, then the flexibility of it would be the same as the rest of your knitting, but sometimes a cast on could be, you know, a little too tight. But mine is not, and it worked out really well. And I just think that's easier. So I knit a lot of this in the dark, and I did make a couple of mistakes, but you know, with speckled yarn, I don't think you see it as much. Oh, here's my biggest mistake. I have a hole. I actually, like I said, I was knitting in the dark, and so I accidentally like picked up a stitch in between here, and so I have a hole. I decided to leave it because of where I was. I couldn't fix it at the time, and I wanted to keep knitting. And I didn't know I had done it until like 2 rows up. But I think that I could just, like with a little bit of yarn, I could like pull it together and you wouldn't like notice it. So there it is. Trying not to be a perfectionist. So this, I feel like, is getting a little bit long. I apologize. But I picked up an old whip and started working the sleeve again of sweater number 20 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Look at that. I feel like the sleeve is probably almost done because it is a drop shoulder, and then I need ribbing as well. So there it is. Isn't it beautiful? I really want it done finally by the fall. I mean, I have been knitting on this for like a year, probably, which is pitiful. But I just have to finish the sleeve, pick up stitches. I hate picking up stitches. I don't know why. A lot of times I have to like pull it out and re-pick them up because I don't get the right count. Anyways, it looks really good though. And I have to pick up the stitches around the neck and do like that big collar, because I do want the like deep collar because I like the way it looks. I think it looks cool. The one modification I am going to make is the sleeves. I realized with like this sweater and another one of these, not this particular one, but another one of My Favorite Things Knitwear sweaters that I did, I like the look of those wide long sleeves, but the practicality makes it not as wearable on like a daily basis. So with this one, I'm planning on reducing stitches, I think, before the ribbing. I think that's the solution I've come to. I thought about reducing all the way down, but you know, you have all of this lovely cable work, and I could figure that out and reduce it as it goes down, but I don't know. I decided not to. But I think a tighter cuff will work and not overly long. I still want it to be like mid-palm length, because then I could always fold back my cuff, because I do like a long sleeve. But I want to be able to wear it in like my normal life. So I definitely want this done sometime in the fall. But it's definitely not the one I pick up all the time. It takes mental energy, and I don't know. I like mindless things these days. Okay. That's actually all the knitting I'm going to talk about at the moment. I am going to do something a little bit different and talk about crochet. I think I'm going to save the other finished object for my next video, so I don't have to go wrangle my daughter down and take it off of her. It is the traveler hoodie, and it looks so good. Maybe I'll put a little snapshot in here somewhere, because it looks really good. But I'll talk about it next time. And I would like to do like a full video on that. Okay. This is something very simple at the moment, and I am making it up, but I am testing something out for a class. I'm doing a knit and crochet class next year for high schoolers and adults, and I have a variety of skill levels in there, and I think it's going to be a little bit tricky. So I'm trying to figure out how to balance that, and like have projects that would work for beginners, but then you could modify them to make them more challenging or to learn a new skill for someone who already knows the basics. So, and most of them want to do not like stuffed toys, but more things like you wear and stuff. Anyways, you probably can't really guess what I am making at the moment, but I'm actually making like a bag out of 10mm in 15 giant, for me, this is like a giant crochet hook. And then I'm using just a worsted weight yarn held double. So this is actually working quite well. I just pulled the center out and the one that was on the outside, and I'm just using them together. And it's actually working. I was afraid it was going to get all tangled up. And so I cast on like, I don't know, 20 stitches or something. And then I'm just doing single crochets back and forth. Kept it as a rectangle, and then I went in only like 3 stitches, I think, on both sides, and to make the shorter rectangle here, this is going to be the bottom, and then I chained to cast on or add 3 stitches on either side once I was ready to do that. So it looks a little weird, but I can kind of show you maybe. If you fold the bottom piece up, and then I can stitch that extra bit on the side here, then I will have like a purse with a little box bottom, or a bag, or a little tote type thing with a boxy bottom, which I think will look fancier than just like the rectangle like folded in half. So I think it will look a little bit more elevated, but not have much difficulty added to it. So for modification for the people who want to learn something new, on this second side, I'm going to show them how to do some bobbles. And I think like do like a V, or like a double V type upside down V look with bobbles. So that's what I'm planning on doing. If people want more details about this project, let me know, and I can I'll share more details when I finish it, so that y'all can mimic it. Alright, on the same lines, if y'all are only here for the knitting, feel free to sign off. It was good talking to you. But I have my fiber arts class that's going to be for a middle school class, actually 2 middle school classes. And I'm teaching hand sewing as well as knit and crochet and just fiber arts projects. So I've been testing some things out. That's so fun. So fun. So I got this kit, and it is a felting, like a felting kit. But instead of felting and making a 3D like creature or something, it's kind of like painting with wool. Isn't it so cute? It's so much fun. So like kind of easy and relaxing. And also if you have any anger, it's a great thing to get your anger out on, because you take a little needle, kind of a needle. Probably can't really see this, but it's not a super sharp needle, but it has little ridges in the side of it. It's like a flat one. Anyways, it has little ridges in the side of it, and you lay on your wool, and you can like mix the colors together. So you mix different colors together to like get the different shades of green, and then you have this little foam piece behind it so you don't stab the table or your leg or whatever it is. I wouldn't recommend doing it over your leg. But then you just like jab it, and it felts the pieces together, and then it's into a piece of felt. So the back, you see, has the little fuzziness coming through, and so it like locks it in place. So fun. Highly recommend it if you're looking for a different craft to do, but you still want to keep in the wool texture and the fiber arts medium. Anyways, that's super fun, and I think that the kids will absolutely love this project. Because even if you don't follow your little pattern super well, it's still so fun, and it will make something very cool. So, and mine comes with this little like instructions. You can find these kits at like Hobby Lobby or Michael's or Amazon. Alright, so like I said, I'm also teaching some hand sewing. So again, I'm trying to figure out, okay, we're having like 5th graders through 8th graders in 2 different classes. And so I'm trying to figure out what projects would I teach them that's kind of easing them into things without like making them too difficult to begin with, but also teaching them actual skills they can use and make things. So this, I think, is one of the first sewing projects I'm going to do. This is my little grumpy cat. And it's just felt that I've cut out. And this one will teach them, well, I think I'm going to have them embroider a face. I don't know yet. It depends. Maybe it depends on how I feel they're going. Because we're going to do a little bit of like the plastic needle kind of cross stitch type stuff first. So it depends how I feel like they're doing. So I may end up doing a face on there, or even drawing a face on there, depending on their skill levels. But this will teach them the whip stitch, because all I've done is done the whip stitch all around the edge and stuffed him. But I think it's cute. And you could put like a little safety pin, make him a pin, put him on a backpack. And I like him grumpy, personally. So we'll see what the kids do with that, but I think it's cute. And then I want to teach them lots of different like embroidery techniques and slow stitching. And one of the things you of course need when you're a seamstress is a pin cushion. So I figure one of the first real sewing projects we should do is a pin cushion, because then they can use it the rest of the year for all the other projects. So here I've just assembled, I put a couple of little scrap pieces together and did some just like a embroidery. I used embroidery floss for it, so I hand stitched it, then flipped it inside out, and then used the embroidery floss around the edge. And that really reinforces that hand stitching that may not be very even and small. So when you have a lot of gaps in your hand stitching and you go to try to stuff something, it can look pretty rough and not hold together very well. But when you reinforce it here with this embroidery stitching, just that straight stitch, it really it really reinforces it and makes it usable and stuffable. So that would be the basics, depending on their skill level and what they're ready to do. I've also, this was before I stuffed it and assembled it actually, I had this little fabric that has flowers on it, and I just took embroidery floss and kind of embellished the flowers with embroidery floss. So we may not do that on our little pin cushions, or maybe they'll just do like one flower or something. But I thought that turned out really cute. Nice little pin cushion for me to use and for the kids to use. And then the other thing I did, I've gone down the whole YouTube slow stitching rabbit trail now, rabbit hole. Anyways, I made this little basket, all hand stitched, nothing on the machine, and it is lined, and it's adorable and holds like my thread and my little pin cushion. It also holds my little kitty. But you make two identical little baskets out of just a rectangular piece of yarn, and then you put the one inside the other, fold over, and sew it down. So this, again, depending on the skill level, we could do like the embroidery stitching across, and that would work well. I did the invisible like mattress stitch on the edge. So if they are ready to learn mattress stitch, this would be a great project to do that with. In order to get this little box here, when you sew your rectangle together, after you've like folded in half, sewn up the side, you take those corners and like you pinch them. So you have two little triangles and you sew across those. And so when you fold it, you get this nice little box, which works quite well. Before I sewed all of it together, I did just a few simple flowers to embellish it. So, yes, that was fun, and I think that this would be a good one for the kids. And once you know how to do this little box thing, like you can make a lot of different things out of it. Like if you made it bigger, you could make it like a really cute little purse. Yeah. Anyways, I think they would get some skills for that. I'm thinking about doing like a journal cover with some slow stitching on there, and just piecing things together, and maybe like adding buttons, because I want to teach them how to sew on a button, things like that. So yeah, I like it. And it's been fun. I think, other than that other finished product that I will talk about next time, I am all done for today. I thank you for sticking with me if you're still here, and I will talk to you later. Bye. Happy crafting.